So, I shall begin. Today, I speak on the foundation of our faith, at the heart of the revelation of the conquering Lion of Judah. Up till Emperor Haile Selassie, the conquering Lion of Judah hath prevailed was a declaration of the Solomonic dynasty through the Christian kings. It was not a title. It became a title when the world declared he is the conquering Lion of Judah. It would be fair to say that from the coronation of the emperor in 1930, that an international event through the invitation of the Ethiopian monarch, that Africa would be formally introduced by Africans in this modern age. This would consist of international magazines and newspapers, but the stage would be presented by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and King Tafari Makonnen. Remember, His Imperial Majesty was crowned king in 1928 and emperor in 1930. His careful introduction to Ethiopia, and indeed Africa, would be draped in an ancient regality that the world, Africa, and Ethiopia had never witnessed. This introduction to Ethiopia would be relayed through Time magazine, the New York Times, and notably 90 pages in the National Geographic magazine. In these articles, the world received a glimpse of a free African country, the only one to never be colonialized. In this orchestration, Ethiopia would declare not only the new name of the emperor, but a new name for the country itself, declaring one Ethiopia is an African name from the Bible along with Cush, and that Abyssinia and Habasha were racist and foreign names no longer wanted. This was a rebirth and a birth in front of the world that brings the nucleus of the movement and the man to front and center. When an African sits on the throne of Zion, with his African empress, pregnant in her glory, proclaiming not just we are Ethiopia, as in Ethiopia as the first country in the Bible, but also we are Beta Israel, the house of Israel. Further, that Ethiopia specifically is the house of Judah. When ones think of Judah, they think of the lawgivers. When they think of Israel, they think of the slaves saved by the Most High through Moses and his law. These elements of global declarations would be relevant as Emperor Haile Selassie would become a judge of the law and the law to come. The change of worldviews would agitate the readers and the status quo who insult the idea of showing respect to an African who encouraged self-rule. This here is where rests the past, present, and future. When Emperor Haile Selassie was crowned, King of Kings and Earth's rightful ruler, where the establishment was faced with more than pretty titles. They had to face an empire that saw themselves as God's children, proudly African and free, claiming the Godhead position of their Christian doctrine. This was and still is the greatest threat to their failed system of control. The power that Europe has used to hold us as Africans in bondage is rooted in their idea of divine providence, that they somehow are told by God to steal our resources because they are here to save our souls. The idea that an African country can be the oldest Christian nation, can be called Beta Israel, Zion, and have the Ark of the Covenant was mind-blowing and a strike at the heart of colonialization and inquisition. The historic defeat of the Italians, with the Ethiopians being victorious in the Battle of Ottawa, was the last major event the world saw as headlines, and was a not so distant reminder: Ethiopians will kill foreign invaders. As awakening as it was for the world, amplified by European reactions, the impact on black people across the earth was the essence of salvation and revelation. What makes Ethiopia mighty? What made the people awesome? What made the emperor supreme? Let us as Africans not be duped by names and titles. It wasn't his crown. it wasn't that he was the root of David. It's that by his love, he loves freedom. Freedom for all Ethiopia, all of Africa, and all the world. He cares about our freedom. And after 400 years of bondage, that means a lot. That a black man and woman would tell Negroes of the world, I am your king. That in essence, I am your father. For a people lost in the wilderness, who have lost everything, especially family, these loving hands pulled us to him and Ethiopia spiritually. What is more topical both biblically and presently than freedom? Is that not what all wars are presented as? Someone fighting for freedom? Are not most scriptures based in remembering the perils of bondage and the mercy of God to grant us freedom? Is not Christ's teachings about freedom from materialism and attachment? This then is the nucleus of all religion, liberation and freedom. If it doesn't liberate, then as a theology or religion, it doesn't work or advance. Marcus Garvey would birth the modern black liberation theology and subsequent South American liberation theologies. This liberation of Africans theologically and spiritually would usher in over the next 35 years the independence of over 60 countries. This resurrection of the human spirit through the humanization of the African is a comprehensible miracle. This rebirth of identity forming into what is known as Pan-Africa, World Federations of Ethiopians, or simply Black Power and Black Love, has allowed African unity to be the cradle that holds our newly born collective identity. The power of knowing our history and ancestors extended beyond Ethiopia to the voices of our collective freedom from all over, from Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, Patrice Lumumba in Congo, Steve Biko and Nelson Mandela in South Africa. We became closer to our drive to know and love each other. It increased, and this may have taken hold in the West. However, as Africans gained independence, it too became to realize the power of African unity. This has been missing continentally and globally for over 1,000 years, and now Africans hold the majority of Ras Tafari globally, awaiting and planning for our final redemption once we repatriate and return. These events transpired from a seed, and in a space of less than 100 years, the earth has been transformed by the millions to have manifested a vision into a necessary reality for our future, the drive to make Africa and Africans safe, and that we inherently must be self-sustaining, and our manifesting of our freedom into tangible advances that must continue. That love is God's love. That love brought us the birth of the light of the world. Karamawe, Haile Selassie, brought that love to us, and today it is that love we share. The redemption of Africa is intertwined to the redemption of humanity. It is both spiritual and clearly an everyday weight that we all know. We are far from loving each other in a manner deserving of a brother and sister, at home or abroad. We have not used the tools that we have been gifted with fully. We as black people of the world and many others need Emperor Haile Selassie more. We need to love Africa and Ethiopia more because we are fighting a philosophy of tyranny, oppression, colonialization, and fascism. With the Most High as our sword and shield, who watches and is the supreme judge, how can we not be proud to preserve freedom and justice? How can we not return to a land awaiting our children? Let us never again be sleeping lions. The conquering lion of Judah has awoken the lions within us. The God in him has awoken the God in us. The love of him has revealed the revelation to us. He has brought his sincere kinship to God, to us. And in our kinship to God, now we have the foundation for all our efforts, for enlightenment and learning, the basis for all understanding, cooperation, and peace. Let us give thanks to be in this revelation, and knowing that our freedom is a holy mission, at the center of our love, struggle, scriptures, God and King. Let our joy know no bounds, as one who is lost and now found, as one who was blind and now can see. Look to Ethiopia, look to Africa, Look to Emperor Haile Selassie and Empress Menen, and weep not. Behold, the conquering Lion of Judah has broken every chain. In his Christ we stay. Ras Tafari.